So for spring splits, if that hive is really populous, but it's not raising its own queen cells yet, it's not trying to swarm. Most of the time what I'll do, say I have a double deep, that's the easiest, easiest one to imagine. Um, I will go in, I'll take that top deep off, I'll set it on its new bottom board. I'll go through, I'll find that old queen. Usually, you can do this a number of ways, but I'll usually go find that old queen. Um, Most of the time, if they're not swarmy, I will actually leave her in the original hive and I'll distribute resources. So I'll distribute brood, I'll distribute honey. One of the things to kind of remember, especially in the situation where you're in that same yard, is like I said, you're going to get a lot of those bees that have already flown out of the hive to forage. They're going to go back to their original colony. And so when I make a split in the same yard, I skew towards moving a whole lot of sealed brood, which means pretty soon going to be new bees, and a lot of nurse bees into that new hive that's going to get the new queen and it's in a new location. That's kind of just hedging my bets. So whenever I look at that split that I'm going to make and it's in a new location, like I said, it's going to get a new queen they don't know yet. I'm kind of looking at the bees I've moved with it and saying, well, maybe half of you will stay. So you have to have enough bees left and you have to have enough emerging bees coming up after that to take care of everything in that hive. And so that's what I'll do. If they're looking really swarmy, like I kind of said earlier, if they're raising queen cells, a lot of the time I'll move that old queen. That's kind of the simple split method. So, but the other way I'll do it is say I have a yard. I have a lot of yards that are going towards ag exemptions. And you have your 5 years to make them. And so sometimes they'll start out with 2 hives and they'll need 8, right? And so I expect every year I'm going to try to make some splits. Well, if none of those hives are double deeps full of bees that could be split outright, I'll go in, I'll actually find, okay, this hive can give a frame of honey and a frame of brood. This hive can use a frame of brood. And I'll move the brood, the honey, and the nurse bees, but no queens. And I'll kind of build a hive a frame at a time. And this is a pretty common technique also. Put a new queen in it. And again, I'm going to give it more sealed brood than anything else. Like some open brood is good, but sealed brood is pretty soon going to be an adult bee. And the one thing I think I didn't cover very well was I want to make sure that there is enough brood to do that. And so if you have a hive full of bees, but there's only 3 frames of brood, I'm not splitting it because you're just going to have 2 dead hives potentially. I don't want to take so much from that original that I compromise either one of them.